You ever watch someone light a match next to a gas leak and act surprised when the whole place goes up in flames? That's exactly what happened when our new CEO, a woman named Dana, walked into our biotech company and decided to play dictator. And the match she lit, that was firing Harold, a quiet, brilliant wheelchair-bound engineer who, unbeknownst to her, held the patents to everything that made our company what it was. I was working as a biochemical engineer at the time, fresh out of grad school and hungry to prove myself. The company was small but mighty. We specialized in custom lab tech, really bleeding edge stuff. And at the heart of it all was Harold. Now, Harold was in his early 70s, mostly kept to himself, and rolled around the lab in a motorized wheelchair. Soft-spoken guy, always wore the same gray cardigan and carried around a battered leather notebook like it was some kind of holy scripture. But make no mistake, the man was a genius. He'd been there since the company's founding and had built with his own hands nearly every key piece of tech we used. If the company was a body, Harold was the brain, the spine, and maybe even the soul. We all respected him. No one thought twice about the chair. He was sharp, kind, and low-key hilarious if you listened close. That man could make a joke about polymer chains that'd leave you cackling if you were nerdy enough to get it. But more than anything, he was irreplaceable. Everyone knew it. Well, everyone except Dana. Dana showed up after our old CEO retired, fresh out of some consulting firm heels, clicking like gunshots through the lab, carrying a clipboard like it was a sword. She strutted in with this air, like she was here to save us from ourselves. I've worked under a lot of managers, and I've seen women do incredible things in leadership. But Dana wasn't leading, she was bulldozing. Every system we had that worked, she tore it down. Meetings were chaos workflows, got tangled in bureaucracy, and morale nosedived. We were exhausted just trying to keep up with her improvements. But it wasn't until she set her sights on Harold that things really hit the fan. None of us knew why. Maybe she thought he was a weak link because of his age, or the chair. Or maybe she just didn't like having someone around who didn't jump when she barked. Whatever the reason, she decided he was a problem, and she made sure everyone knew it. I still remember the day it happened. I was walking past her office when I heard her voice, loud, shrill, cutting through the door like broken glass. You just sit there, Harold staring at papers all day. You think being old and in that chair means you don't have to contribute. Well, those days are over. It got worse from there. She called him dead weight, accused him of faking expertise, and then the cherry on top told him she didn't give a damn about his contract, and that if he wasn't gone by the end of the day, she'd have security escort him out. I didn't hear Harold's response. He was too soft-spoken. But I do know that he packed up his things that afternoon and wheeled out of that building without saying a word to anyone. The air in the office after he left, you could have sliced it with a pipette. Everyone was stunned, angry. But the real fallout didn't come until a few days later when Dana learned just how badly she'd screwed up. See what Dana hadn't bothered to check because she was too busy swinging her authority around like a wrecking ball was Harold's contract. Turns out, all the technology he'd built, he held the patents, every single one. The machines, the software interfaces, the calibration systems, all registered in his name. His agreement with the company allowed them exclusive use while he was employed. But if he was fired, that privilege vanished. And he wasn't feeling generous. Suddenly, our entire infrastructure crumbled. Machines were powered down. Ongoing projects stalled out. Contracts were breached because we couldn't deliver. I saw our VP of product practically weeping in the break room. We had nothing. Harold had taken it all with him, and legally there was nothing we could do. Dana panicked. She sent flowers gift baskets, even offered to reinstate him with a raise and a public apology. He ignored every single one. Because Harold, he was playing chess, and Dana had just taken her queen off the board in the opening moves. Then came the knockout punch. Harold filed a lawsuit. Wrongful termination. Discrimination based on age and disability, and everyone in the office could vouch for what happened. We'd heard it loud and clear. HR had no defense. Dana's own arrogance had documented everything she needed to take the company to court. But Harold wasn't done. He took a consulting job with our biggest competitor. They hired him practically overnight. They knew exactly what they were getting: all his designs, all his patents, all his genius. While we were struggling to reboot from the ground up, they were thriving, using the very tools we used to call ours. Our board was livid. Investors started pulling out. Projects got scrapped left and right. The losses mounted into the millions. Meanwhile, Dana, she tried to hold it together, but everyone saw through her. She'd become a symbol of failure, the kind you use in corporate training videos titled How to Wreck a Business in 3 Easy Steps. She was forced to resign just 3 months in. 3 months, that's all it took for her to take a thriving company on the edge of industry dominance and turn it into a sinking ship. Most of us jumped off before it hit the ocean floor. I found a job at a quiet little lab doing agricultural research. Not glamorous, but peaceful. Honestly, I needed the detox. I think about Harold sometimes. I hear he's still working part-time now, mostly advisory stuff. Word is he's happier, probably feels vindicated. And honestly, I hope he does. He deserved better. He gave everything to a company that treated him like a burden the second someone new needed to assert control. You know, we always talk about power in the workplace, who has it, how it's used. But Harold taught me something that stuck. Real power doesn't come from your title or your corner office or how loud you can yell in a meeting. It comes from the quiet things, the stuff no one sees until it's gone. The blueprints, the knowledge, the respect you earn by building something that matters. Dana thought she could erase a man's legacy with a single order. Instead, she erased herself. And maybe that's the real lesson here. Leadership isn't about control. It's about stewardship. And if you can't recognize the people holding the company together, you've got no business sitting in the big chair. But hey, that's just my take. What do you think? Was Harold right to walk away and let the company collapse? Or should he have taken the high road, let cooler heads prevail, and saved what he built? Let me know in the comments. I really want to hear your thoughts on this one. And if you've ever seen a workplace meltdown like this before, share your story. You never know who needs to hear it. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you in the next one, where we dig into another story of ego justice and sweet, sweet karma.